I was rinsing my dishes in the sink when my mom called. She was so excited, so happy, just telling me like, I just talked to your brother Rick. He's gonna come out on Saturday to put my dock in. I told him everyone could be here by 10. No like check-in, does that work for you guys? Just like, we're all gonna get together at 10. But we already had plans. Like we had a work commitment and then we also had a kid that had a party. But instantly, I felt my chest tighten, my stomach drop. It was just like the worst feeling came and just like took over my body. Even though I still had to take a deep breath and tell my mom, I'm sorry, we can't come. But for hours after I told her, I'm sorry, we can't come, I literally spiraled and felt like the worst daughter in the world. Questions or thoughts were, oh my gosh, she's a widow, she feels so alone, she hates asking for help, and then she did, and I'm not there to help her. What are my brothers gonna think? Are they gonna think we're lazy? Are they gonna think we don't take care of my mom? Like all of this stuff. And then I started thinking about how my dad used to get us to do, well, me for sure. He used to get me to do anything with this one sentence. He would ask me to do something, and if I pouted, said no, or whatever, rarely, he would say, okay, I'll remember that. And that is when it hit me. This isn't about the doc at all. This isn't about what my brother's going to think about me or how my mom is feeling. This is about how quickly I made my boundary into me being a bad person. So last week we talked about healthy guilt, the kind that guides us back to our values, motivates us to repair relationships, the kind that shows us that we care and we want to stay connected to people in our lives. But what happens when that guilt lingers? Even when we've done nothing wrong? Like what happens when our boundary feels right, but you still feel like you're betraying somebody? That's what we're diving into today. We are talking about inherited and toxic guilt. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jess. I am kind of like your boundary big sister. I am the person you call when you're trying to navigate tricky family dynamics, things that feel just impossible. My husband and I, we started Mind Your Boundaries to help people set emotionally intelligent boundaries that protect your peace without destroying the connection. We believe estrangement should be the very last option, not the first response. So if that is something that interests you, definitely hit that subscribe button and stick around. So let's talk about inherited guilt, the kind that we don't choose, but we still carry. For me, it shows up like gravy all over my life, not just with my mom, but like it shows up when I try to schedule a client and they want to come in on my day off. Even though I have plans with my family and I'm trying to protect that, I still feel really bad. It shows up when my daughter, this just happened this week, she sprung a trip to the mall in the middle of a workday on me. And even though I offered to take her after work, her face and the disappointment that I wasn't willing to drop everything for her made me feel so bad. It's like this punch in the gut feeling, the same feeling I feel when my mom says like, hey, can I pop over? Like my dog's getting groomed and she just doesn't understand the whole like working from home thing. It's the same feeling. That is inherited guilt. It doesn't ask me like, is this fair? It whispers in my ear like, how could you do that to them? So I have had days where I agonize over whether saying no to a request means like I'm just not a nice enough person. I'm not lovable. I'm too selfish. I'm just not good. When I protect like a rest day and I say no to something that maybe would stretch me too thin, I feel like I have to overly explain or justify why I can't do it, or even small things like performing or just like not fixing things or not always being on kicks off this like low hum of guilt that lingers far too long. Like my husband will say like, Jess, I can't believe you're still thinking about that. And I'm like, I know, it's not fun for me either. So what is going on? Because this isn't logical. I think it's because I'm conditioned. It's like my empathy gets taken over completely. Why does this inherited guilt show up everywhere? Well, I think many of us grew up with emotional immaturity, where boundaries were seen as rejection, disappointment was seen as being disloyal, where love meant you showed up and proved yourself by overextending yourself repeatedly. And if you're like me and you were raised to put someone else's comfort ahead of your own needs, you've internalized that. And it's not because we're broken, it's because we're deeply relational and we just want everyone to be happy and we're just kind of like little love bugs. And that beautiful empathy that we have, if it goes unchecked, that can turn into chronic guilt. And it's especially challenging when we are dealing with family members who are emotionally immature. They can't hold space for us or our needs. And when we say no or set a limit, they feel rejected and they feel abandoned and they feel unlovable. It feels so bad to them that they use guilt as a way to bring us back and get their needs met and plus stop whatever feeling they're experiencing, like whether abandonment, rejection, unlovable. They use guilt to bring us back to them, not as a weapon, but just as like their only tool they know how to use to get their need met. That's why I think I have become like an emotional contortionist. Like I'm trying to prevent their disappointment while still honoring like my own needs. Like this is a big battle for me. And it's no wonder why I feel guilty all the time. Like I'm carrying their disappointment, but I'm also carrying my own stuff as well. So if this resonates with you at all, if you've ever set a boundary and immediately just felt like that crushing guilt, like you've done something wrong, even though you haven't, we have made something for you. It is a free quiz. It's called Why Do I Always Feel Like the Bad Guy When I'm Trying to Set Boundaries with My Family? It breaks down 4 emotional patterns that are keeping you stuck: guilt, fear, reversal, and confusion. And it helps you name exactly what's going on. You're going to get clarity, language, and next steps. And you're going to find that in the show notes below. So back to the doc. On that Saturday morning at 10 a.m., I sat with the guilt. I let it roll through me. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. We'll talk about that in part 3. And I reminded myself that I didn't abandon anybody, that I simply honored my prior commitments. I spoke with respect. I reminded myself, like, I'm not disloyal. I just have a family now, and that family also has a life. So that, to me, is healing what I believe is inherited guilt. It's not getting rid of empathy. It's not ignoring your family. It's just choosing to honor yourself as well. In our final part to this series, we're going to bring this all together. So we're going to be talking about like integration. So how do you know when it's healthy guilt? How do you know when it's toxic? How to soothe yourself when emotions like don't line up with reality? Because guilt that fades after you act with integrity, that's healthy guilt. But guilt that lingers, no matter how clear or kind you are, that to me is inherited. So we're going to go through all of that next time. So I will see you then.